So this is
Yes.
kind of the perfect storm for you because we get to talk about movies and video games. Our topic today is Rotten Tomatoes wrong about the tomato meter when it comes to video game movies on it. So we're going to kind of set it up. But before we get to all that, what is your favorite video game movie of all time?
There's a lot of
Hard
good ones. There's a lot of
question.
bad ones. Uh,
Certainly a lot of bad ones.
I'm gonna say the original Mortal Kombat. It's an incredible movie. It's in a time where movies and action movies specifically were such a part of everyone's life and pop culture. Mortal Kombat stood out because it was the most perfectly cast movie I think I've ever seen. Because then you look at like Street Fighter, the movie, the most horribly casted movie I've ever
Except
seen.
for Raul Julia.
Incredible.
Raul
Incredible.
Julia. Man
But
was given it all.
everyone else who was cast, like Chung-Li was okay, E Honda was okay, but wasn't he like Samoan? Like, which is like fine. But it's Ken and Ryu were both like 20 pounds, and like they're great, probably great dudes, but like that's not. What are y'all doing with this? And then you look at Mortal Kombat casting, flawless.
I'll tell you, and we said this when we covered Mortal Kombat in an entire episode of this show, and I've just never replicated the chills I got as a kid in the movie theater when you see Sub-Zero and Scorpion emerge from the green room, wherever they were, warming up in the locker room, and they come out. And because you wrestle occasionally in Mortal Kombat gear, I imagine you have the same kind of feeling when you're walking to the ring and you have that sort of regalia on. It's got to be like you're living out a lifelong fantasy.
Yes. So when I was in college, one of my roommates, our junior and senior year, we both loved Mortal Kombat, and at least like 2 or 3 times a week, we would turn it on and play that scene where Sonya goes down into the bottom of the boat and she's Sang Sung in the chains, and when they come out of that like you said, the locker room, and that music, the drums start to doom 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 doom. He opens the door and they're standing there. And the first time you see him, and then all of a sudden it's that side shot, which I love. They hit the flying V and then Scorpion in, and then Sub-Zero comes in on the side, and that's a movie right there. That's a movie.
And I have a totally different, I love that movie. I absolutely do. But I have this thing for Christopher Lambert, who's like this huge French movie star. And the very first movie class I ever took was a French cinema class back when I was a French major. He is having so much fun in that movie, and he's almost in a different movie. Like he's like given the business into this fight for the death. I love it. And like when you read the backstory of him with that, he was basically like, yeah, I'll only do the movie if we do it in Thailand where we can get drunk. And then just got drunk with the cast all night, and like they just like had a bit of a party. I also agree with you. Mortal Kombat is up there. I want to ask you though, like, how do you feel about the sequel? Because I think I'm the lone person who has this like, it's so bad I actually still enjoy it with Annihilation. Or are you just like writing it off?
So there's the thing. So when I was young, one of the ways that my dad and I would bond would be going to the movies, like, and just watching stuff, and we really enjoyed it. And so when we went to see Mortal Kombat, he loved it. He knew like I played the game and stuff, and so he like knew a little bit about the characters. But after we saw the movie, he was like, man, this is great. And then we heard Annihilation was coming out, and it was like, what? We get the second one. This is going to be so dope. And as soon as the movie started, and they killed Johnny Cage.
Thank you.
As a child who doesn't understand these like weird concepts, I knew something was wrong, and I stood up and I walked out. And you know who was right behind me, just as mad as I was? My dad.
Dang.
Yes. Who kills Johnny Cage in the first 30 seconds of the movie? Who does this?
Miss Melina with like the you die now. I'm sorry, the line reads on that would give Tommy Wiseau like goosebumps. It is so bad that you have to lean into it.
Team here. I will be his tag team partner going to the mat against Annihilation, because I was so excited in the theater. I was with my friends and I actually yelled out Mortal Kombat. I don't suggest that kind of jackassery, but when the New Line Cinema stuff comes in, I yelled Mortal Kombat, and some people laughed, some people told me to shut up. And then the movie starts, and again, within 10 minutes, I wish I was with you and your old man and we could just walk out of the theater, because it was just such a crappy movie experience. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to break down just the 10 best video game movies according to the Tomatometer. So we do get to hear Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, nowhere near the top 10. Thank the good Lord on high.
Can I ask a question? Huh. So that's not really a question, it's more of a statement, because I'm looking at the Rotten Tomatoes website right now, and I see, and I'm really upset. This has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about, but I have to get it out. My favorite movie of all time has a rating of 15% on the Tomatometer.
Oof. What is
one?
your
And I am
favorite movie of all
disgusted.
time?
I am disgusted with the people that have put this trash on their website. How dare you rate White Chicks so low? How dare you? That is the greatest movie of all time. A full cinematic experience. You have everything. You have drama, you have jokes, you have happiness, sadness, you have incredible soundtrack, you have an incredible actor, you have so many different
It's an
things going on in that
undercover
movie.
thriller as well. An undercover thriller.
Because they look terrifying.
And Terry Crews is singing Vanessa Carlyle. I get it. I get it.
You cannot lose.
This is the thing. This is why we have the show, Austin. This is why we have the show.
Put that at least to an 85.
I
minimum.
can't, but you can come back on and rail against it. We'll get you and Terry Crews to tag team about it, because he honestly talks about how that movie changed not only his career but his life, and all because he leaned into a song.
That's all you can do. You telling me we got 11 Land Before Times? I can't get a White Chicks 2? Why? Why do we not have White Chicks 2? How?
Because they need to make another Pikachu movie. Let's break down this list real quick though. And seriously though, now you are
White Chicks is
officially
based on a video game.
It's not. It's not, but I would see that video game. No, let's break it down though too, because, and by the way, Austin, you have officially agreed to come back and talk about White Chicks. Don't know if you know that, but I'm absolutely going to make that happen. But here we go. So we'll talk about the top 10 list, because for a very long time, Mortal Kombat was the top one with 47%, correct? Yeah. I think 44 or 47. Now we have Angry Birds 2 at 73%. Detective Pikachu is at 67% and Sonic at 63%. So the top 3 films, and the only 3 fresh ones, have come in the past 3 years. We also had 2 films in 2018 who had a 50% rating, and that's being Rampage and Tomb Raider. I personally like this sort of top 10 list, but yeah, it's interesting to kind of think that it didn't make it that far. I don't know. What do you think about it? A lot of people argue that the Angry Birds movie is not really a video game movie.
If we break it down by semantics, yes, but there's not like an Angry Birds story from the game that could be translated to the movie, really. Like an extremely loose one, but like it semantics wise, yes, it's technically a video game movie. But I don't know.
I feel like that's why Mortal Kombat works so well as a movie, and that's why I'm so pumped for the new one to come out, is because Mortal Kombat is that sweet spot of a video game where we're attached to the characters, but the story, it's like, we know it's a fighting tournament. It's like March Madness for this sort of martial arts combat that is intergalactic. And so we all go into the movie knowing that. With Angry Birds, there's like, you don't really care about any of the characters. And so the storytellers had the freedom to do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
Do you think that's better? Do you think that's better?
I mean, it's kind of like, it makes me think about like the Trolls movie. There's not like a storyline with the Trolls movie. They just kind of like went like, oh, we can make a movie about music. Oh, let's use the Trolls to tell it, and they're incredible movies, especially World Tour. But like Angry Birds, and I don't want to sound like I'm a gatekeeper, like, oh, they're not like real gamers. It's a video game that people enjoy, and so they made a movie, so it's a video game movie. But I don't remember there being a narrative or like characters that I'm like, oh, this is my character from the game that I'm obsessed with and I'm excited to see translated into a movie. So like, I don't know if there's a way to work that into the definition, but then does that disqualify certain things? I'm not sure. I'm not the authority on it. But
so I'm going to go pretty loose with my definition of what constitutes a video game movie. But I also, since your champion is Mortal Kombat, Jacqueline and I are going to pick 2 different ones, and I just want to use you as a sounding board. And you tell me what your gut reaction to this is, because I'm going to defend a movie that's not even in the top 10 of the Tomatometer video game flicks, and that would be Warcraft. Because Warcraft, even though it didn't completely pull off the magic trick, but there was so much to do in that movie, and there was just so many places you could have taken the story. So the fact that Duncan Jones gave us a competent narrative and some characters to care about, I thought that was an achievement, and it should be at least in the top 10.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
I'll give you that until we find something that bumps it out.
Okay. Can you find something that bumps it out? Look, We already talked about Warcraft. I think that movie was done with somebody who absolutely loved the game. The director, Duncan Jones, was very clear about that was the reason why he did this. And he was coming off of Moon. The man could have literally kind of made whatever movie that he wanted. And he wanted to make a big hulking orc homage to World of Warcraft. And I think it's really interesting that he did it. And it made a ton of money. People like lose that 28%, but it made a ton of money and it had a really great audience score. I actually have one that is way lower, and I don't think it's going to defeat Warcraft as far as love, but I have love for it because this is also the game that got me back into gaming. Because I think for some people, it's like after a certain age, or at least with me, I kind of got into other things. I was doing like theater and choir, and so gaming like took a back seat, I would say, in like high school and late middle school. But then in college, I really picked up on Assassin's Creed again. And so that movie, like game, even though it's horrible, I still loved the earnestness of it, of them trying to marry the craziness. It's still something I think that could be done better in a different form. But yeah, I like Assassin's Creed, with a special honorable mention to the Super Mario Brothers movie for being so bad it's good.
Ooh,
See, I like
that's
So
not
Bad It's Good
bad.
movie.
That's
not
the
a
take
bad
I
movie.
want. Xavier, yay or nay on the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993?
Hell yeah. Dude, do you realize the range that John Leguizamo has, dude? In that scene when they're talking to the police and he goes, what's your name? He goes, Mario. He goes, what's your name? Luigi Mario. I was like, oh, of course his last name is Mario. They're the Mario brothers, but Mario's name is Mario. Like that as a child, like that blows my mind till this day that like I didn't realize that his name would be Luigi Mario and Mario. That alone. And then the scene with the Goomba when he's all sad and stuff, like, come on. But then that reminds me a similar scene in Double Dragon when dude who's all messed up gets sad in the mirror. Like that's also a very good video game movie that we don't really talk about in these kind of conversations.
Yeah, Robert Patrick was the bad guy and Double Dragon 2 particular. It was my brother and I's favorite video game to team up and play together, where you were Billy and Jimmy Lee going through the mean streets. And the movie came. I don't know that I ever have actually seen Double Dragon. I will give that one a second look. I will give that one a chance.
And that's where I'm weird about the definition, because like if you say Double Dragon, the movie, you automatically go, oh my God, my memories of this game and having so much fun with people playing it. But you go, hey, Angry Birds the movie. I'm sure there is someone, but I've never met them that goes, oh, Angry Birds is my jam. I can't wait for this movie and all the sweet narratives they bring from the game to the movie. Like who's saying that? I want to meet them because I'm very curious.